Brett here. So, a different plan than I originally started with. I got lambasted by one of our cats. Long story short, got my tip of my thumb mostly cut a bit off, and I've got scratches all over my left calf. I'm in a bit of pain. But actually, that's the interesting thing is I was going to go to bed, but I had this mad adrenaline rush, and from it because he really was going crazy. I managed to get him, hold on to him. He didn't get hurt, but we got him in the bathroom. So cat's fine. I'm fine. I'm in pain, but I'm fine. I'm going to be fine. I just got cuts and whatever. But the adrenaline rush really sort of made me short of breath, and I'm thinking, well, my sympathetic system really got engaged. And so the question is, do I want to go to bed with my sympathetic nervous engaged? And also, I got lightheaded after that. So I definitely had an adrenaline rush, got lightheaded. And I'm thinking, shaking, shaking. I make the claim that shaking is a balancing practice. And so what I'm wondering is if I can do this. I think it's going to take a little longer than normal because I can still tell I had adrenaline just because I'm still somewhat shaking from both the pain of the experience and the adrenaline. So I'm trying to get my body back to sort of more balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic before I try to even go to bed. Now I'm sort of feeling where I'm breathing. I'm still sort of engaged here, and I really want to feel it down into my belly. So that means the muscles are still tight in my chest, which means I'm still holding on. That means the sympathetic system is still engaged. And as long as I'm still sort of holding on these intercostal muscles and all that kind of stuff, as long as that's going on, I'm wired. I might seem calm, but I'm still more in the sympathetic system, engaged, fight, flight, freeze. So I'm going to add some vibration in the throat because that'll stimulate the vagus nerve. And in fact, I normally don't wear this when I'm shaking, but this is also going to help stimulate the vagus nerve. So I'm going to go all out here. So I'll go ahead and form Wuchi. I'm going to get back into it. So feet parallel, knees bent, pushing the sacrum down. That brings the perineum slightly forward, roughly in a line with the middle of the arches. If you extend your head straight up from the fontanelle is just at the tip of the ears. Extend your head straight up. That's going to bring your spine in alignment. That'll bring your ears down, your shoulders down your side. So let's see what it looks like. Maybe I'll look at the video or something like that. But feet parallel, knees bent, sacrum goes down. This tends to tilt the pelvis in the front up, which is going to level your pelvis. Right there, that engages the first bow in Tai Chi. And then after that, I'm going to push the top. Imagine there's a balloon. Like imagine you're in the world of it, and there's a red balloon pulling your head up. That extends your arch up, brings your chin in a bit, and then you can take your spine and push it down if you'd like. That's a bit too much there, so I'm going to relax. So I'm just going to work on the bottom part, and then extend my belly. Again, stimulate the vagus nerve in the belly. I'm stimulating the vagus nerve with this magnetic device. And I'm shaking. Go ahead and just try to relax. So something I'm wondering about is, there's the initial pain reaction. I'm scratched all over my legs. Is this the right approach? Would going to sleep be the right approach? And so I don't know. We'll find out. It's been a long time since I've had so many scratches at the same time. The pain has mostly subsided, though. Man, the tip of my thumb is just mostly gone. My fingerprint will never be the same. My thumbprint, whatever, you know what I mean. I'm going to loosen my shoulders a little bit. Okay, I'm going to let my arms just flap. Now, when I say I'm going to let my arms flap, I really mean that. Try to really wet noodle. I know that's strange looking, but learning how to really relax muscles is really helpful. Because once you can relax muscles, you can tell if they're tight. So that's how I can tell where I'm breathing. And now I'm breathing about here as opposed to up. So I've moved it down a few inches. It's getting there. Now, what I originally wanted to talk about tonight is so I've got the C4 injury and I think that's about T4, T5 injury. So I used to be in constant back pain. The stretching practice that I do has pretty much alleviated that. And so that's why I'm so passionate about the stuff that I do. So I haven't repaired my spine. I've protected it by strengthening and 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 improving flexibility and balance. And so really that's what I'm doing here. So the Tai Chi, or sorry, the Qigong here, the shaking, this is a good way to get into your body, come from out there into here, come from cat attack to just a throbbing thumb at the moment. This is, maybe I shouldn't be shaking my hand. Okay, I'm going to really tuck and try to get my sacrum pushed down a little bit and get a little more tucked in, get my hips more engaged when I'm bouncing. Now I'm really trying to loosen up here my pecs and just let them bounce, and that's going to help relax these muscles. So this is a good way to basically bounce yourself into relaxation. Okay, I'm tingling all over finally. That took a while. Now I want to do so I came in tonight with really tight shoulders, specifically my traps, and I've been doing some hunching over work and all that kind of stuff. And I know the thing is, my neck is injured. I generally don't have pain, but for example, I can't. It used to be if I did this for about 2 minutes, I'd start to get a migraine. Now I can do it for quite some time, and but I still can't do it forever. So my neck has its limits, and I have to respect those limits. You have to work from where you're at. But tonight, because my traps are so tight, it just so happens I would normally be doing my favorite pose against the wall. But with my thumb, there's no way I can do it. So I'm going to do an alternative version of one of my poses tonight, and I'll see if I can do the other poses. I'm not sure if I'm going to manage because I might be in a bit too much pain. But given that I'm going to be working on my shoulders, I want to do a little more work with my shoulders. I want to stretch things out a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put a weight, and I'm going to work on sort of loosening my shoulders. So now I'm trying to take my shoulder all the way through full rotation. Right here, I'm doing a lot of twisting so I can keep my hand flat. I'm sure if I were more flexible, this wouldn't look so awkward. But you know what? It may look awkward, but genuinely, moving slow like this through full range of motion and really stretching your muscles in a nice little slow dynamic flow is really relaxing. And it's part of taking control of your body. Now, I'm no gymnast, and I'm certainly nothing particularly good about in terms of flexibility, but as someone who fell off a train bridge in 1981 and screwed up my C5, and then in 1986 got my C4 messed up in some whiplash, I can tell you that while you can't go back to where you were, you can get to somewhere that's perfectly all right. Oops, balance there. Okay. So tonight's shoulder is all shoulder work. I'm going to start by working on my traps. So the original pose that I was going to do is against the wall. This is the version of the pose that I would try to do. And actually, I will see what happens here. I don't think I'll be able to do it though. Let's see. Hmm. You know what? I can do it. Why not? Alexa, 5-minute timer. Okay, so put your head against the baseboard, lift your hands up, You want it about the same height, a little wider than shoulder width or even wider. And then you sort of drool, you just allow yourself to melt into the pose. Now notice my hands are slipping a little bit. That's not good. So we'll see if I can maintain the pose without my hands slipping with that Band-Aid. Now, this really opens up the front of your chest quite a bit. It pulls on your armpits. It should not pull on your elbows at all. The creases of my elbows are facing up, so there's no pressure on my elbows. But my traps, which are tight, are having a word with me right now. They are not appreciating the effect of gravity's pull on my head between my shoulders down towards the ground. Now I'm pushing my toes under to sort of push myself just a touch forward, just a little bit, to deepen the pose. Then I'm going to set my feet back down, just relax here for a little bit. Alexa, stop. Okay, I might have done that just a little too intensely. Oh man, that really felt quite curvy. Okay, I'm going to push my shoulders up and I'm going to arch my back in a turtle back, sort of invert a little bit of what I was just doing with that pose. Oh, whew. That is my favorite pose. Okay, now for the next pose, I'm going to be taking my shoulders and I'm going to be pulling them apart. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cross my arms one way, put my chin down, but I'm going to be laying on the ground. When I do this, my right shoulder is going this way and my left shoulders are going that way, so we're diagonally. And then when I cross the left arm in front of the right, the other way. So whereas this last pose was sort of pulling the shoulders this way and actually almost squeezing them like this is pulling them apart. Here we go. So lying on the ground. Now, for in all seriousness, use a timer on this one because you will once you learn how to do it and get comfortable in it, you will fall asleep. And what the heck? Did that cat get this leg as well? Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, I got to scratch him. Just some kind of. All right. Well, man, that didn't realize. Hang on just a second. Okay. So timer. So right arm, front or left. Now I'm going to take the right hand. I'm going to scooch it to the right. Take the left hand and scooch it to. I said that wrong. Right hand to the left hand to the right. Right to left, left to right. Hopefully your elbows at least match up, if not cross. Now I've got a nice stretch. Got to stretch the timer. And then I would put my chin down. See, I fell asleep. I was asleep. I'm pretty certain, or darn near. Okay, now I'm going to go in a little bit on this next one here. So, left arm, front of right arm, this time, the second time. Take my right hand, snake it to the left, snake, snake, snake. The left hand to the right, elbows cross. I'm going to put my chin down. And here we go. Yeah, I thought I had something to say, but I don't. I'm just going to stretch. Good idea to start the timer there. That would have been bad. So I count this pose as neck adjacent, and also I don't generally work on the neck directly in deep flexibility. But I'll explain what I mean by that. I do isometric work on the neck, so I will engage the neck muscles, say press against my neck. So I'll have the muscles engaged, and I will be working with my neck. But for deep flexibility, I don't directly stretch the neck. It's a joint, and I don't want to mess with joints. This is a difference between, say, yin yoga and the practice that I do. I do not work on ligaments directly. Certainly, ligaments get involved, tendons sometimes, actually more tendons than ligaments, but I really try to avoid that. I don't want to mess with the joints at all. So as I'm doing this and my chin is resting, my neck is actually putting some effort in. So the neck is getting along for the ride because of where the chin is. So this has actually this practice or stretch alone has really helped my neck quite a bit. And just because for about 3.5 years, I did it about 1.5 times a week on average, 5 minutes at a time. So, 7 minutes a week probably because of how many times I was going through the sequence I'm going through tonight. The basic sequence is whole body spectacular. That pose is a good one to do last because it's I'm tired, but I'm going to do this last pose, and I've got a story to go along with it. I've always got a story, it seems, but this is a big one. Okay, for this last pose, I'm going to work again on the shoulders. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start. There are two options, or a couple options. You can start in a down dog, something like so, and then you narrow the dog, and then you widen the dog. And the idea is you want to dump into your shoulders. Now, you're going to get good hamstring stretches here, but I don't get a good shoulder stretch. I did the pose like this for years, literally 2 years, and I was getting great hamstring stretches, but I wasn't getting anything in the shoulders. After making the following adjustment, I unfroze my back, which had been frozen since 1981 when I fell off a train bridge 17 feet onto my back. And it hurt for several weeks. But luckily, I built up the strength through stretching and just basic work that I do with qigong. And while my back is still injured, it doesn't hurt. So it sometimes speaks to me, and when I do these poses, it goes back to sleep. So I'm going to do the same thing, but by doing this, I can drop into my shoulders more. Now it makes it a little similar to the first pose I did, but still, this is an excellent pose. Now I'm going to warn you: when you do this pose, if you really allow yourself to relax in the chest and you drop things forward, your back is going to be trash, absolute trash. So at the end of this pose, you're going to see me do the following. I'm going to set one hand down, and I'm glad I thought about this ahead of time. I would normally set my hand down, but I can't do that because of my thumb. So I'm going to set my hand down with these two fingers, the pointer finger and the social finger, and then I'm going to bring my other hand down, and then I'm going to bend my knees and put my hands like so. I'm going to do this exact thing so that I do not use my back at all afterwards. Really important on these poses, especially this pose, and especially for me. If I don't do that because I have my back injury, it can really hurt, and it's like stabby hurt. It's not good. So you got to figure out how what works for your body. But I always take generally the approach I take is I find a way to get stable, adjust my balance so that I don't all of a sudden drop, right? So I'm adjusting my balance so I can move the other hand. And really, this is just me applying the principle of empty stepping from Tai Chi, where to shift your weight, you first move your weight to one foot and then you move the other foot weightless. Doing the same thing here, trying to maintain balance so that after a stretch, you're not all of a sudden doing jerky motions because you can actually injure yourself. If you do this well, you destabilize the muscles. That's kind of the goal. They get better after a couple of hours. So don't do anything for a couple of hours. Walking is fine. Going downstairs, sometimes dicey. Okay, now I want to get this targeted between my shoulder blades. I want my shoulder blades just to be dumping. And if you do that, what you're going to find is over time the traps are going to come along with it. So I'm going to bend my knees a little bit. Now, I might lose a little bit of the hamstring stretch doing this, but really this is moving the stretch into the muscle belly. So this does not hurt your hamstring stretch. But we've got lots of hamstrings are easy to stretch. So I don't care. I mean, this is great. They come along for the ride, but that's secondary for me. I want to get it between the shoulders. So if I go a little bit deeper there, it's better, but still not quite right. Let's see. There, that's almost it. Sometimes I can drop right into it. Okay. I think I got it. There we go, right there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and straighten my legs now that I've got a good position. I'm going to go right about there and let things go for a bit. Now, the visualization here is I'm trying to get my entire breastbone to drop straight to the ground. It's not going to move. Maybe a millimeter, maybe two if you're lucky. But I'm trying to relax my entire rib cage and let it drop to the earth. And it doesn't drop to the earth, but you know what does? Stretch. All those nice intercostal muscles get nice and stretched. My armpits are getting a nice stretch as well.
Now, one thing that this practice does, if you notice, I'm starting to shake. Since my legs are bent, I'm going to be shaking. So that means all those little muscles that are shaking are getting a bit of a workout. Over time, you're going to have generally a more toned body because of that. You're not going to look muscular, but you're going to have more muscles. Kind of the difference between bodybuilding and powerlifting. Powerlifting is making more effective use of what you have, and of course, building muscle, whereas bodybuilding is primarily shaping the body by building muscles. One's more functional and one is more stylish. They're both great, yin and yang. But I've always been a function over form guy. And that fits with being a nerd. Now, as I drop here, this is getting deeper into my hamstrings, right near. Actually, this is getting my glutes right now pretty nicely as well. This stretch. Once you learn how to really allow yourself to relax in it, and also you build up that minor muscle strength, so you're not too shaking. You can hold this. You can really get a lot of stuff stretched in this pose. Now, though, I'm gonna do this. There we go. Got a little issue still with my left heel, so I had to make a slight adjustment there. I am going to see if I can bring my legs a little more up and down here and still maintain the shoulders. Yeah, there we go. So that just changes the stretch. It's still a hamstring stretch, but notice as I move around a little bit, I'm stretching different parts of the muscle. And really what I'm doing is the muscle is millions of fibers called sarcomeres. And stretching is the opposite of strength. Stretching is those muscle fibers relaxing. And so it's not like you relax the muscle, you relax a sarcomere or two or 100 or 1,000. And so a power builder learns to engage as many of those sarcomeres as necessary simultaneously. So it's about training neural networks, the nervous system, and physiology, and getting it all working together so that those fibers fire in a way that he or she wants them to fire. And I'm just jibber jabbering at this point. Okay, time up. Now watch. First of all, I'm going to take my left hand and set it on the ground, knuckles, just those two knuckles. Now I can hold myself up, my arms locked. I can stay balanced. I'm going to take the other hand, and then I'm going to do something. I'm going to actually shift forward, and instead of doing what I said I was going to do, which is a great way to do it, I've got this stool. I'm going to use it instead. Whatever works. Lots of ways to get out of a pose. But the idea is you do not want to use the muscles that you've just been stretching. Okay, well, I'll tell you, I am very much more relaxed in my neck, quite a bit. One thing I wanted to do that I didn't do, I forgot. I'm going to go ahead and do that. This is going to be a bit weird, but I'm going to go ahead and just do this. I'm going to do isometrics at the end. Probably not a great idea, but I just want to do them tonight. So, okay. Wow. Normally, when I do what I just did, I feel a little bit of relaxation here. When I did that, imagine there's an entire disc going through here all the way around. So as I'm pressing here, I'm feeling that relax all the way through. So I'm going to give a double thumbs up with
with some blood on this one to isometrics, gentle isometrics afterwards, because I'm really getting that whole system engaged as opposed to just sort of superficially. It's like, I mean, it's like, why haven't I been doing this for the last 4 years? Not to say you don't want to do it at the front, but I'm now going to do it at the back. Okay, now on the left side, it just formed. On the right side, it started here, and as I kept allowing it to go, it kept going deeper and deeper. So it ended up going to the same place, but it started tighter and worked down, which actually my right side, I don't know. Anyway, I might just be making stuff up. Okay, front and back. I'll do back first. So now for this one, you can be seated if you want. I'm actually going to engage first bow Tai Chi, first bow Tai Chi. So it's the FFmpeg can interpret what I am saying. Hey, Perplexity, go ahead and remind me of a good recipe for lemon meringue pie. I've got the recipe for the crust. I haven't actually been keeping track of time at all. I'm going to go ahead and relax at this point. Okay. Not so much front and back. Okay. Now, finally, I'm going to engage the second bow while pressing down. So for the first bow, feet parallel, knees bent, sacrum, press down, front of your pelvis comes up a little bit. Take the fontanelle, extend it up to extend your spine slightly. Your weight go forward. And then I'm going to, I've completely lost my mind here. I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to press up right up in the center. I've got my hand centered over my fontanelle as I tuck. I tuck the tailbone. That's not what I'm doing. Pressing the sacrum down, the tailbone does come under a touch, but I can feel my hip flexors somewhat stretched and engaged. And then I'm as it is right now, I feel my entire spine is getting engaged. Okay, let go. And just as a counter to that, I'm going to lean forward and do a partial ragdoll. I'm going to put my arms just on my forearms on my legs. I'm just trying to let the spine decompress after compressing it like that. And having said that, I might as well just go ahead and just do a little bit of a ragdoll. There we go. All right. Well, my spine is tingling. Yeah, I've definitely got my nervous system balanced, so I think I'll be a little bit easier to get to sleep. Have a good night.